Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets just put on an absolute show on Sunday in an overtime win against the New Orleans Pelicans. This win was no ordinary one either, as Jokic absolutely blessed us with one of the best performances we have seen out of any player this season, and that performance alone just skyrocketed his stock to win the NBA's MVP trophy this season. On top of this historic level Jokic has been playing at, the Denver Nuggets are quickly rising up to be one of the Dark Horse contenders in the Western Conference, and not enough people are talking about just how good they have been with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., the team's two other starters missing either the entire NBA season or practically the entire season. Without that star power on the roster, the Nuggets have still managed to secure the 6th seed in the West while only being 2 games back from the 4th seed, and the best part of it all is that both Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray are expected to return in the next month. With Jokic playing like a top MVP candidate, adding these two guys to your roster will allow this team to match up against anybody in the playoffs with the talent they possess, and please do not be shocked if they end up making a deep playoff run, where I could even see them in the NBA Finals if all goes well and this team remains healthy. Also, only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind. Enjoy the video. What Jokic has been able to do this season as the reigning MVP is phenomenal, as he's not only putting up video game-like numbers, but it's also just been insane to watch him put the team on his back and go on stretches where we see him absolutely dominate teams to close out wins late in the game, like we saw exactly last night. And last night was no different for Jokic. As I mentioned, he had a performance that rewrote the record books in many different ways, as he poured in 46 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, 3 steals and 4 blocks, falling just shy of a 5x5 game. More impressively was the way Jokic got to these numbers. Playing in 42 minutes in this one, Jokic shot 72.7% from the field, 60% from 3, and 91.7% from the line, and was a game high plus 22 on the night. This game marked just the second time Jokic recorded a 40-point triple-double in his career, and both of which came this season, and he joins just Wilt Chamberlain as the only player in NBA history to record a 45-point triple-double on 70% shooting. And as most people should know by now, if you are in the conversation of holding a record with Wilt Chamberlain, you are most definitely doing something that may not be repeated for a very long time. Jokic also became the first player ever to record this stat line since steals and blocks started being tracked back in 1974, and is the first player since LeBron James in 2010 to record a 40-point triple-double with 4 blocks. Although Jokic putting up absurd stat lines like these has been the norm over the years, the Nuggets needed every little bit they could get from him in this one, as he managed to score 30 of his 46 points in the 4th quarter and overtime, coming up clutch multiple times in that final frame to eventually put the game away in overtime, as he became the first player in the past 25 seasons to record 30 points in the 4th quarter and overtime while shooting 90% from the field. It is nearly impossible to even come up with a more clutch performance in a game than what Jokic just did, and it could not have been bigger, as the Nuggets are trying to climb their way up as high as possible before the playoffs, and they receive some of their stars back in action. Jokic also extended his lead for the most triple-doubles this season with 17, 5 more than the next closest player in DeJounte Murray. He's not only practically secured that triple-double crown this season, he's also closing in on Wilt Chamberlain for the 6th spot on the all-time triple-double list. Let me know down below in the comments who you think is going to take home this year's MVP trophy. Regardless if Jokic wins it or not, the way he's been playing this season is more than enough for the team to make a serious run in the playoffs, as not a single soul can guard this man when he's feeling it. Jokic's numbers this season season are incredibly similar to last year, where in some categories he's improved and vice versa, to the point that I think it almost perfectly balances itself out. Adding Jamal Murray to this team would give the Nuggets a much needed second star on this roster that would just make things that much more difficult for opposing teams to game plan against the Nuggets. Already needing to throw practically everything in the direction of Jokic to try and slow him down, adding a 20-point per game guard to that mix of teams needing to focus on top of Murray just being a young point guard on the verge of being considered all-star caliber, as we have yet to see what this duo can do in the playoffs since Jokic has been at this MVP form. Jamal Murray still just being 25 leaves no doubt in my mind that we still have yet to see his full potential, and the last time we've ever seen him in the playoffs was the bubble, where he was averaging above 25 points per game, 5 rebounds and 7 assists in that playoffs, and they made it to the Western Conference Finals, where they lost to the champions that year in LeBron and the Lakers. What Murray is going to bring to the table among his return is going to make this team among the top contenders in the West, considering he plays at a similar level prior to his injury. And then on top of this, the Denver Nuggets are expecting Michael Porter Jr. back as well from injury sometime this month, bringing all the pieces together where you could comfortably say that this team has a fantastic chance to make a deep run in the playoffs with these guys back. This is just another piece to make life easier for Jokic. Michael Porter Jr. had a breakout season last year that inevitably led him to sign his monstrous contract. Just like Murray, he's still very young, being just 23, and his best years are certainly ahead of him. Out of both Murray and Porter Jr., I honestly don't even think they would need to play at their top levels, considering they're both coming off of injuries, for this team to be considered a championship contender. Solely based off of how good Jokic is, they would just need to be upgrades from the guys currently in place as starters, which makes the scary part of this whole situation is that if these two do end up playing either to where they were prior to their injury, or if they even manage to be better, which is very much a possibility, the NBA and all of its fans could very well be looking at the potential NBA champions this year in the Denver Nuggets. Murray coming back would slide Monte Morris down to a backup point guard role. He's been more than solid filling in for Jamal, averaging 12, 4, and 3, and this would just make the guard depth on this team incredible, and this would be crucial considering Jamal Murray is probably going to ease back into things before he gets back to his regular role. Michael Porter Jr. would do the exact same thing for Jeff Green, who again has been a very solid replacement while Porter Jr. has been out, shooting over 50% from the field on the year. This roster being at 100% and getting their stars back would make Aaron Gordon the fourth option in this starting lineup, where having him as a fourth option is a gift for Jokic, as he puts up 14.7 points per game, 2.5 assists, and 5.7 rebounds while shooting above 50% from the field as well. And then lastly, Will Barton would be the remaining weapon that Jokic would have around him to make life hell for opposing teams to game plan against. Another guy who's averaged nearly 15, 5, and 4 on the year, who would just like Gordon only be getting easier looks on the floor, with their opponents needing to put the majority of the focus into Jokic, the potential MVP this year, and the other stars around him, as this will most likely just elevate the games of both Gordon and Barton simultaneously. With this team getting healthier, it will only leave less room for the bench guys on this roster, but they've all gained plenty of experience all season long with their increased roles, and I can definitely consider this to be a very deep squad. It's just going to be very interesting how deep down the roster this team is going to go once they set foot in the playoffs. A very interesting pickup that I just felt deserved some much needed attention this team made was to acquire DeMarcus Cousins, as he filled in for Jokic in the game against the Rockets in the starting lineup, and he absolutely turned back the clock and put on a show. The entire NBA at this point has to be rooting for this man, as he's getting passed around like nobody's business, but hopefully this is the place that he finally gets a consistent role, as if he were to continuously play like this as Jokic's backup, that once again will just make this roster even more loaded than it already is, as he dropped 31 points and 9 boards while shooting 71.4% in just 23 minutes in that game. The Denver Nuggets are heating up and getting healthier at just the right time, and on paper they seem to have one of the best rosters in the league right now at 100%, especially since they have Jokic playing at this insane level of basketball. if he were to turn up like this in the playoffs, there is no question Nuggets fans could witness history this postseason. But I want to hear your thoughts on just how good you think this Nuggets team can be this year in the playoffs down below in the comments. As always, if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button to help this video get shared across YouTube's algorithm, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more NBA content like this one that I will be posting multiple times per week. Thank you all for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic night.